also want you to really consider and look at the fact that your priorities do not have to look the same as anyone else's.
Mm-mm.
And here's the release that I'm asking you to give today. You do not need to feel guilty for prioritizing differently than the person next to you.
You just don't. You just don't. And okay, so it really hit me the other day because this is the thing. We can't ignore that our life is intimately intertwined with our work.
Mm-hmm.
Your life keeps happening. And so I saw this video of this woman saying for the first time when I was like, man, I wish more people would like say this out loud because I think it's important to recognize is, you know, there's all this societal pressure to have children. And this woman has children, and she was talking about how she's jealous of people who don't have kids. And I want you to notice that it's not you may have feelings about people with different priorities, and you're allowed to have those feelings. You're allowed to like question, oh, do I want to try that priority on for size for me, or do I want my life to look more like that? You're you're a human, and so you are inevitably going to want to look in all the areas and like wonder and try on. That curiosity is so important. And you are allowed to be firm, and that like the decisions you have made to this point are the right ones for you. And it doesn't mean that you did something wrong along the course.
Mm-hmm.
And like that is so hard. It
Mm-hmm.
is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when and it doesn't always have to be about work, because the life things so uniquely impact your work that I think it's you can't ignore that that's affecting your attitude, how you show up, the time you have, all of those things. But when you allow your priorities to be yours, and you can start to let go of what society thinks you need to be doing, of what your friends think you need to be doing, of what your family thinks you need to be doing, you may lose some people along the way. You may lose some connections. You may lose some relationships. But I promise you, you will be happier because you're
Mm-hmm.
actually prioritizing the things that are important to you.
Yeah.
And it's some like deep shit, but like it's good. It is genuinely good.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how much joy it brings me on a Saturday to like do nothing but bake. And like there's so many other people out there that like can't imagine a life where their Saturday was only doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like that doesn't make my priority any less.
No, no. And I think ultimately what it comes down to is if if you are wanting to stop judging your own priorities, you have to stop judging others.
Yes, and that's maybe that's the harder part.
Yeah. Yeah. Mind your own business is basically what we're saying.
Mind your own, all of this is mind your own business and seek help and guidance and resources and therapy. Like that's what it all boils down to. But no, I do think allowing yourself to love what you're pursuing does take a lot of letting
Yeah.
go, and like not just not caring, because it's not apathy,
Right.
but it's truly
It's not giving it permission to mean anything. It's
right.
releasing its meaning.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty cool thing to do.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool thing to do. Um I only linger here because I just think so many of you struggle with setting your own priorities. But I saw this other video where this hospice care worker was talking about this woman who's literally on her deathbed. And this woman had no children, and she was single, and she'd never married. Um, and she was like in her last breaths, this hospice care worker like asked her again if she'd ever been married, and she said no, and like very dismissive about it. And then she said, have you ever loved someone? And she said, many times.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think I think we're, and it's easy to like pull on the kids and singleness and all that as a thing, because it is so countercultural, especially as a Midwestern woman. But I I say that because I want you to realize you're not necessarily going to be on your deathbed thinking wishing you had reprioritized all these other things. If you allow yourself to
Mm-hmm.
be okay with the fact that you prioritize differently,
Yeah.
like that woman prioritized her life differently her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, she was uniquely happy in her situation. And it's different.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's different. But like, what a cool story to be so uniquely like allowing yourself to just do what you want. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just think so many of us give this permission away. So anyway, I on the same kind of breath, I want to mention that there's also no right or wrong timeline for success, for your business, for your life. And you can go as slow or as fast as you want. And I think so often, in the same way that we're like trying to check boxes, through life, you probably made that like 5-year plan when you were in high school, and you're like, I'm gonna go to college.
Yeah, did you guys
And
write that letter to yourself in school and then your
oh,
teachers like mail it to you 5 years later
yeah,
or
except I don't
whatever?
think mine ever
Mine
mailed it. But
never did either. I think they just keep them. They want you to do it and they don't mail it to you.
I am so rude, so rude. Or they probably like hated their job and left, but that's in some file cabinet. But anyway, regardless, you likely made a plan at some point, and the plan had all the things you were told you were supposed to be doing. Oh, you were supposed to go to school, you're supposed to fall in love, you're supposed to buy a house, you're supposed to have kids, you're supposed I mean, I'm assuming a lot of you have similar lists, myself. And then you wake up one day and you're like, what if my list is different? Like, what if I want different things on my list? What if I don't want it to be on the same timeline as everybody else? And I think if you decide to not follow the path that society's laid out for you as like normal and acceptable, uh, and this could be for so many different things. Like, it could be your sexuality, it could be like if you ever buy a home or not, it could be where you live or how you live, or I mean, there's so many things that aid into this. But like, the moment you like one step off the beaten path, all of a sudden we judge this timeline, and it's like, why?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think to get even more narrowly focused, it's literally within your own business that the
Yeah.
timeline is most held to judgment, right?
Oh,
Where
totally.
I cannot emphasize more the consequences of growing fast. And the more that I'm in this and the more that I am in business and the more people that we help, the more stable, healthy, functioning businesses I see grow slower with intention. And I
Yeah.
think it doesn't mean that you can't intentionally also seek faster growth or bigger growth, like bigger results.
Or speed it up
Speed it
or
up, right?
slow
You
it
can you
down.
can you can turn those levers on literally whenever you want once you know what they are. But I think all of us start and grow and then seek the next like viral kind of moment for whatever that means to you. I don't mean like literally going viral, but like whatever that means for your industry or
Yeah.
your business. And we think that that's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
We set scenarios up to hope that like accidentally happens, but in reality, like the foundation of the business that we're building is built brick by brick, right? And
Mm-hmm.
those happen over time. And the amount of people that I get to know, peers, mentors, who had to do so much deep work and lesson learning in such a short amount of time because of the growth,
Mm-hmm.
it it's not as great as it's cracked up to be.